Buenos días y bienvenidos a todos. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Welcome to a community dedicated to providing spiritual tools for living a happy and full life. My name is Karina Shear, and I am the spiritual director and founding minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta. If you would like to join us for the live Zoom meeting, please contact me for the link and the password, or check our website, www.cslpv.org, and you'll find the link on the weekly talk section. Welcome to the new month of November. Today is Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, and it is also the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, where we celebrate and honor those that have passed before us. This month, our monthly topic is loving the unlikable. And the topic for today is decoding unlikability. The suggested book for reading this month is Rooted: Life at the Crossroads of Science, Nature, and Spirit by Leanda Lynn Haupt. So once again, I'd like to truly welcome everyone, including those that are new to our teaching and to our center here in Vallarta, whether you are on the live Zoom call or watching the replay at a later time. I'd also like to give a shout out to Reverend Jill in the center in Scottsdale, Arizona, who told her congregants about us here. And yesterday I met one of her peeps who took me out for breakfast. So if you are planning on coming here for a vacation, you are more than welcome to come and join us. Here we teach a philosophy and we honor all faith traditions. So whatever path you are on, know that it is the right one for you. We teach this philosophy called the science of mind, and it is a teaching based on new thought and ancient wisdom, where we offer spiritual tools and principles to promote personal growth. And we honor diversity in all aspects so that we can see and appreciate the great oneness that exists everywhere within everyone. When Dr. Ernest Holmes founded this teaching in the 1920s, he had studied both Eastern and Western spiritual texts in order to create the science of mind, which focuses on the individual use of thoughts and this powerful thing called the mind. When asked to provide a concise definition of the teaching, he had replied that it is a correlation of laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelations of religion applied to human needs and aspirations. So each week, we offer a service with an inspirational message. We offer the Zoom meeting at 10 a.m. and also meet in person Sundays at noon. We have found a new location for our in-person gathering, and more information on that will be provided on our news and updates section near the end of this video. And after the service, whether it's online or in person, please hang out with us afterwards to enjoy a coffee and some great conversations with like-minded people. We are also considering in our growing this center. So our intention is set to invite a guest speaker the second Sunday of each month to provide the message in Spanish with an English translation. So if that sounds like you or somebody you know, please get in touch with me or have them get in touch with me so we can make those arrangements. And now, as we do each week, let's review our purpose, vision, and mission statements. We have a grand purpose here each week, and that is to awaken and celebrate diversity and to love and serve our community. We do this by means of our vision, creating the life you desire. And this is supported by our mission to provide spiritual tools for personal growth and transformation. And more on all of these can be found on their own drop-down menu on our webpage. And now, as we have been doing in the past and started doing again, let's read from the Creative Thought magazine from November 2nd, 2014. And as you may already know, spiritual mind treatment is always done in the first person. So I invite you to gently close your eyes and take these words as your own. I stand in awe of life. God is all there is. I connect to this recognition and I allow it to fill me, flood me, lift me, and overwhelm me. It inspires me to transcendence. As I transcend the physical world with my awareness, I galvanize myself to a heart space of transformation and transcendence. And as I connect to the essential feeling of this, I am deeply moved by a power that dwarfs even the most encompassing intellect. In this awareness, I stand in awe of life itself. I bathe in a profound thought that irresistibly moves an impersonal and immutable creative law. As I stand in awe of life, I experience an infectious spiritual magnificence. The highest possibilities are made available to me. Before I identify a desire or preference, life itself responds with awesome manifestation. My own realization of reality, the guidance, even as the feeling of loving transcendence, freedom, and certainty is the fuel. I stand in awe of the feeling of gratitude that in this moment fills me. I am thankful for the power and possibility that is within me and that directs the creative mind. With exquisite expectancy, I release to law, and so it is. And that was submitted by Reverend Carmian Owen from Edmonton, Alberta. So this month, we are exploring the concept of things we typically find unlikable, such as the creepy crawlies, annoying people, and challenging situations that we prefer to avoid. Our goal is to reframe these perceptions, transforming the unlikable into the lovable. We'll start today with decoding unlikability, explaining why we find certain things unappealing. And next week, we'll delve into beneathness, exploring the hidden aspects of what lies beneath our feet. Following that, our next discussion will be opinion, fact, or truth, which leads to a deeper conversation about being grateful. And the final week will be grateful for kith and kin. Pardon me, there's 5 weeks this month. So the 5th week will be concluded by exploring consciousness through the lens of octopuses, or is the plural octopi? Anyway, exploring consciousness through the lens of octopi, using the natural world to enhance our understanding of life and oneness. Let's start with this quote by Ernest Holmes. We cannot really have an attitude of dislike or hate or viciousness toward other people without robbing ourselves of the healing power and the comforting presence and the divine assurance that the universe itself rests on the shoulders of love. So in the book, Detaching from Likes and Dislikes for Your Spiritual Growth, Manisha Melwani wrote this: attachment comes in pairs of opposites, likes and dislikes. A liking for something usually comes along with a dislike for the opposite of what you do like. For example, if you like soft, soothing music and dislike hard rock and heavy music, is one example. However, when you hear hard rock on the radio, you immediately change the channel, right? Your dislike of hard rock comes with a liking for the opposite, which in this case is the soothing sound of the soft music. And now the problem is that we don't just do this with one thing, but we do it with everything we encounter. When was the last time that you eagerly reached into your fridge for something to eat that you didn't like, or couldn't wait to speak to a person whom you know is a bore? If you had a choice between watching an episode of your favorite TV show and the Weather Channel, what would you rather watch? Dependency is the problem. This dashing towards what we like and recoiling from what we dislike is how we find happiness from the world. It is our all-consuming preoccupation. You may still be wondering, so what if we have dislikes and likes? If they may make us happy, what's wrong with us having them? You see, the challenge is not simply the like or the dislike, but the dependency that comes along with it. Our happiness depends on having certain things a certain way. And this dependency creates desires, cravings, and agitations in the mind that take away our peace. We can't stay still until we move away from what we don't want in order to get what we do want. The greater the intensity of the like or dislike, the greater will be our disappointment and sorrow in the absence of the thing that we like, our anger or agitation in the presence of something that we dislike. Ernest Holmes stated, "We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence." And from this understanding, there's no such thing as unlikable. Instead, our individualized expression and experiences, uh, and that's our personal preferences. Now is the time to shift from viewing the world through our personal lenses and instead recognize that all of life contributes positively to our planet and the wholeness of spirit. There is no hierarchy of life. Humanity is simply another aspect of spirit expressing itself, and nothing in spirit could possibly be unlikable. And when we embrace this understanding, we can live and act from a place of unconditional love for all, thereby creating a world that works for all. In Richer Living, Ernest Holmes wrote this: when we dislike people and groups, we are bearing witness to our small and limited viewpoints. The people in whom we fail to find good are born of the same mind, operate under the same law, and express the same life as we do. Our inability to see their divine origin is our self-created stumbling block. Often, we are held back by our petty dislikes of other people. So let's go over some points on personal dislike versus inherent unlikability. Often we assume that if we dislike something, it must be inherently unlikable. However, that's not the case. As the proverb says, one person's trash is another person's treasure. And from this perspective, nothing is truly unlikable, but rather every being has personal preferences that result in likes and dislikes. For example, my children didn't like mushrooms on their pizza. Well, I was more than happy to receive them to put on top of my pizza. The more mushrooms for me, the happier I was. And while there's nothing wrong with having preferences or disliking certain things, the challenge arises when we use our personal dislikes to justify eradication or harm. I used to strongly dislike mushrooms and turnips, but now I love them. By working to notice and then distance ourselves from our personal preferences, we discover that many people like and even love the things that we don't. Detaching from our preferences opens us to a more inclusive and accepting world, strengthening our relationships with others and appreciating that personal likes and dislikes contribute to the diversity and richness of our planet. Holmes wrote this: "We must remember that we are not dealing with a field about which we can say, I do or do not, like to believe thus and so. It is not a question of likes and dislikes. It is only a question of what is so and what is not so." So it does take respect and honor for our unlikables. And perhaps you find it challenging to shift directly from dislike to love. Well, instead, let's consider enhancing our awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the things that we dislike. For instance, if you have a fear of bees and typically try to remove them from your yard or your space every summer, take time to educate yourself about bees. Learn about their different types, their contributions to our planet, why they are vital, and how to coexist peacefully with them. You might dive even deeper by identifying and understanding the various bee species in your region and their roles within the ecosystem of your area. And if you like to have honey in your tea or on your morning toast, you might want to reconsider your dislike for bees. Through these efforts, you consciously cultivate respect for something that you may never personally like, while acknowledging and honoring the significance and necessity of their existence. Holmes said this: "I do not care very much for the word tolerance, as though we tolerated each other. That is better than intolerance, but people who are tolerant because they have made up their minds to be tolerant are missing a lot. I like the word understanding." So we need unconditional love for all life. And in our belief of oneness, all beings are inherently worthy of the life they are living. And this principle affirms that your personal dislikes don't diminish their right to exist. So next time you feel inclined to swat a mosquito or spray for weeds, consider the lives that you are choosing to end and reflect on your motivations and explore alternative approaches that embody and honor unconditional love and inherent value in the science of mind teachings. Well, maybe using mosquitoes is not a good example. I've never met a mosquito that I liked or wanted in my personal space. Oh, well. This recognition of our interconnectedness invites us to extend unconditional love to those that we might find difficult or somewhat annoying. And by taking the time to acknowledge the unique contributions and perspectives of everyone, we can deepen our understandings of oneness by removing our personal dislikes from the act of unconditional love towards all beings. This process encourages us to cultivate empathy, compassion, and respect, fostering harmony and inclusivity in our interactions with our communities. Here's a little poem by John Rodell. Actually, it's quite a long poem, but it's a good one. He writes, "The cocktail party is moving all around me while I am sitting awkwardly in a chair in the corner of the room, writing this poem out on my phone. Everyone is so excited about the weather and their last vacation and the newest cars and how they plan on voting. I am a little jealous because right now I am only obsessed with the encounter I had yesterday with my neighbor who knocked on my front door to ask me why I am letting my weeds overtake my planters in my front and backyard. You could grow a really vibrant garden, he offered without asking. I responded with a melodramatic thoughtfulness, like I was considering a treaty that had geopolitical ramifications. He pointed to his row of flowers that were exploding out of his nearby garden like fireworks. His carefully curated bouquet looked like they were ready to be pinup models in a flower magazine. His garden was so organized. His flowers were so uniform. The petals of each bud standing firm at attention, like boot camp privates walking for inspection from their foamy-mouthed drill sergeant. I could not believe how incredible the posture of my neighbor's flowers. Then he gestured to my planter and looked like it belonged out front of a haunted house. He asked me to imagine how beautiful my planters would look if I just put a little effort into them. Well, I'm not an expert on psychology. What I think he meant to say was, imagine how much more beautiful my planters would look if you put some effort into yours. I replied, now reflecting on the idea that my lack of green thumb was impacting the property value of those around my neighbor. Pardon me, impacting the property value of those around me. My neighbor walked over and ran his hands over the vines and blooming weeds in my pink brick planter. I could feel his disappointment growing. You see, these weeds are just useless and are creating chaos, my neighbor said as he turned back to look at me, his eyes raking over me like a comb through a mop of unkempt hair. Chaos? What a word choice. I love chaos, I thought to myself. If you want, I can show you how to get rid of these flowering weeds, he suggested. I looked at my planter and the vines that were sunbathing like they were roses, the blooms of the weeds popping open without any sort of apology. They had no idea they were unwanted. They just were minding their own business, being themselves. I put my hands in my pockets and secretly dug my finger into my thigh because I knew what I had to say next, and I knew how my neighbor would respond. I said, well, maybe since the weeds are flowering, they are actually flowers, I said. I swear I could hear my neighbor's flowers gasp. The moment between us took a deep breath. This is an insult to actual flowers, he said, with a straight face. I spent the next 5 minutes trying to explain that I wasn't trying to insult his flowers. I just want to make space for the possibility that maybe he shouldn't judge a gardener by their blossoms. And perhaps, just perhaps, one person's weed is another person's wonder. He left the conversation the way he came into it, unannounced. And an hour later, I found a huge bottle of weed killer on my porch. My flowering weeds quivered as I picked it up. I winked and I told them that they were safe with me. And I brought the bottle of poison inside of my house like an unwanted fruitcake and meditated on all of the ways we humans unintentionally pass out poison to kill what annoys us in each other. A day later, I am here like a bit of a misfit at his cocktail party among all these flowering people, which seem to be much further ahead of me on the board game of this existence. Everyone is exchanging stories or job promotions and of their kids' test scores, and I'm sitting here on my phone writing about blooming weeds who didn't ask to be called useless. They just asked to sunbathe under the same light as roses do. And I think that this is just so lovely. A rose by any other name is still a rose, right? So sometimes even those weeds in your flower pots can seem like roses when they bloom. Brian McLean said this: we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. We see the things we want to see, the things that confirm our assumptions and our preferred way of looking at the world. So as we navigate this week, let's start by bringing our personal preferences to the forefront of our awareness. When encountering something that we dislike, do you instinctively try to eliminate or avoid it rather than seeking to understand and respect it? Consider whether your actions align with your science of mind values: oneness, the inherent worthiness of all life, wholeness, and the individualized expression of spirit manifesting through each being. If not, then reflect on what changes you could make in your personal life to move closer to being in alignment with your values, your beliefs, and your understandings of spirit and source. And I'll leave you with this quote: to love without condition is the bravest thing we can do. When you let others be fully themselves without trying to fix or change them, you offer a rare and healing freedom for them and for you. And that brings us to our affirmation for the week. I choose love, even when I encounter something I don't like. And now it's time for news and updates at our center. So the news that you've been waiting for, starting the third week of November, we will be meeting at the new location of the bookstore and coffee shop in 5 de Diciembre. The location will be updated on our website. And if you are interested in learning more about the Science of Mind teaching, we do offer courses via Zoom as well as in person. So connect with me to see what classes are upcoming, or check our website to find out details. And let me know if there's a specific course, such as meditation or forgiveness or grief, or any book studies that you would be interested in taking, so that we can plan dates for these. And if you would like to have a one-on-one connection for spiritual mind treatment, please connect with me so we can arrange time for this. And if you would like to commit to being a member at the Center for Spiritual Living Puerto Vallarta for this current year, as membership is renewed annually, or if you would like to be on our board of trustees, please contact me to be sent the current application form. I'd also like to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page. And now it is time for mindfully giving and financial support of our spiritual home. We rely on your support to continue this center here in Puerto Vallarta so that we can continue offering this powerful teaching of the science of mind. And we bless the financial gifts that you give today, no matter the amount. Donations can be made using PayPal or Tithely through our website, www.cslpv.org. And you'll find the links on both the landing page as well as on the page where you find the weekly talks. Alternatively, you can still send in a paper check and by addressing it to CSLPV number 403, 2125 Birch Road, Kelowna, BC, V1Y 8M1. And now please join me in our offertory affirmation. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I do give eternal thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. So thank you for coming and sharing this time together. And let's continue practicing peace. We can each be a force for peace and nonviolence. Our words and our actions create ripples of peace all around us and beyond. Peaceful living includes acting with compassion, kindness, and consideration. And it also includes standing up against injustice. Today, more than ever, we need to stand for peace. So hug your friends, your loved ones, and your neighbors. May peace and love be with you. Blessings to all. Namaste.